would like to hear Jeff talk about it. A lot of what the Ukrainians have done has been kind of on the cheap and highly improvised.
Mhm.
And I was talking to some friends of mine a few weeks ago where they actually asked a big military industrial complex contractor to bid on some kind of drone program similar or inspired by what the Ukrainians have done. And the price that they were quoted was, I think, 300 times the actual price or cost to the Ukrainians of what they're doing. So I've talked long enough.
Yeah, that's one of the most interesting and even, for me, like heartwarming things about what this war has brought out about the Ukrainian people is that they are incredibly ingenious and
Scrappy.
focused, and dedicated and just they're I mean, right if it I know that um it's not it's not going to happen as soon as everybody would like, but it should become obvious even to Putin that he will the cost of taking Ukraine it going to is going to ruin Russia because you will have to kill every single Ukrainian man, woman, and child. They will not stop fighting. They will sabotage, and Russia is so vulnerable to sabotage. And part of that is because Russia has been so corrupt uh, that that and I write about this in the book. One of the Gazprom plants, the biggest Gazprom plant in Russia and the second largest in the world, had they never connected the alarm system that would have triggered had these guys done what they had done. But with the alarm system in place, it would have shown up before the explosion occurred. And yet, because of corruption, they said, yes, sure, it's in. Everything is in and working, when in fact it wasn't. And Gazprom took the vendor to court. The vendor went bankrupt. They hired a different vendor. They literally had to go back and collect the original design documents from the bankrupt vendor and give them to the new vendor. And then I don't know how many years later, it was still not connected.
So is
So
that corruption or incompetence?
it could be both, but it's definitely corruption.
Because
And
people
because
are
what
getting
happens
paid
is,
off.
in addition to not connecting things, they'll use pirated malware instead of authentic malware.
Oh,
Pirated malware you can get for free. Authentic malware you have to pay for, and you have to pay for the licenses, and you have to pay the renewals. And so, why do that when you can put that money in your pocket? And there's so much pirated malware out there, right? So this goes on all the time, and it's gone on for years, and probably has made many Russians very wealthy. So what's the incentive to stop? Ukraine also has a leftover corruption problem, but they're diligently going after it. They're hunting down whoever it might be, executives, generals, you name it, whoever it is. Nobody is exempt. If they can find them, then they remove them from office, and if necessary, conduct some type of criminal act or other or a civil penalty. But um, but Russia it's just, I think, too embedded. So those two things combined, right, in my mind, um, tells me that Russia will eventually have to negotiate some type of a settlement, because the country won't survive if they keep pushing. Ukrainians are just there, and what really inspires them, at least my friends, is the state of Israel. They have an interesting relationship, and I'm not sure exactly how it started or how far back it goes, but um, but there's a very tight bond between elements in Israel and elements in Ukraine. And they share tactics, they share technology, but I'm talking about in government and in the military. And so when you see the successes that Mossad has, it just sort of energizes this GUR in Ukraine. And they even have named one of their special operation teams an Israeli name, sort of in honor, as a sign of respect. So they're just remarkable people, just remarkable people.
Now, do you have Ukrainian background?
I just
Carmen
learned.
asks somewhat suspiciously, but
Yeah, I didn't think I did. I thought my maternal grandparents were from Russia.
yes.
But in July, I think it was July of last year, my sister sent me a genealogy that one of our cousins had done, and they discovered that my grandparents came from a little town in Ukraine.
Yeah, those borders were so fluid the last 150 years. You could be in a village that began in Belarus and then ended up in Russia and is now part of Ukraine, and that is commonplace.
So that was pretty remarkable. I told my friend about it as soon as I found out. I said, "You're not going to believe this." So, yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing, and they're very happy that the book is out. This is only, and really, I only got a handful of stories. He promised me that after the war was over, we'd do another
Tell you
book.
more.
We do another book and get into some of the better stuff that he wasn't able to share.